So welcome to the panel Sergals, the world of Vilous. I am Annex, this is Phil, and that is Vicky. I'll be doing most of the talking here, but all three of us are up here, so if you have any questions, we can ask some questions towards the end. This is also kind of a meet and greet, so I don't want to be talking the entire time, so I'm going to kind of go through this, and I'm just going to be touching on it a little bit. So let's get started. So just a little bit about myself. I am a Vilous team member. All three of us are actually. I mostly focus on the Japanese to English proofreading, and I also do, there's actually a manga comic, so I do a lot of the typesetting and the editing for that. And I also work on the wiki, all three of us work on that. And I'm also one of the creative leaders in the Telegram rooms. So that's a little bit about me. So let's talk a little bit about Sergals. So what is a Sergal? In short, they are a type of people. They are an alien race in a fantasy sci-fi world. The world was created by a Japanese artist named Mick 39. Yeah, Mick 39. And so it kind of started around 2003 when she first created them, and it became popular over here. So I'll talk about that right now. So in 2003 is when Sergals first started coming out, so you can see an early design there. The design has definitely changed over the years. Then starting around 2006, Sergals started becoming popular in the West, especially through 4chan, and later on through Second Life. Once the avatars started hitting the marketplace, that's when Sergals started to kind of blossom. And there was a bit of a hiatus, but recently, as of around last year or so, 2015, the Vilous team was formed to kind of bring back Vilous and make the entire world come to life. So we're still kind of in a renaissance period right now. The website has been launched, there is a manga that has been launched, so it's all online, it's free to read, so if anyone's interested, you're more than welcome to check it out. So if you want to see a little bit more about Sergals, here's the anatomy. There actually is an anatomy chart. I left it up in my room. Go back to the room and get
This is it?
No, it's not in there.
Okay.
I'm actually putting some off so I can hand it to you guys so you guys can all have a copy of this at the end of the presentation. But yeah, this came out not too terribly long ago. And so you can see a lot of thought has actually been put into the anatomy of the Sergal. We've actually gone through several anatomy changes over the years. One of the changes that's been recently made is you notice that there's actually a breastbone that sticks out right here. It's also known as a keel. It's a bone that a lot of real-life birds have. In earth birds, the muscles for flight attached to that part of the body. So they're added to Sergals to kind of give more of an alien or bird-like look to it.
That's actually, the keel's actually always been there, it's just nobody knew it was there. In a lot of the older pictures, they had like a little bit of fluff, like right there.
Yeah.
And nobody knew that there was actually supposed to be a bone underneath that. And so people would just draw it, you know, oh, this is just a little tuft of fluff on their chest. And very recently, they came along and said, hey guys, that's actually a bone right there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, if you look in the oldest art, it's always been there.
I did notice that. I just thought it was
never.
Okay, then I learned a thing too.
Yeah.
Another one of the things that has been changed is the foot design right here. The feet used to be more kind of rodent-like or monkey-like, and that has been updated to give it like that change at first, but the anatomy does make sense, so people are starting to pick up on that. So there are four main variations to Sergals, four main categories. It's a bit more fuzzy than that, but this is the general gist to it. Now a lot of people are used to the classic northern and the southern. So in the old canon, it was mostly just northern and southern Sergals. But as of recently, in the more newer canon, the westerns and the easterns have also been added. So I like to call them, the northerns are kind of the classic. They're the main archetype to what Sergals look like. So they have the grayish fur and the white underbelly. The southerns are more to the south, and they have more of a dusty or sand color. They also live in the desert, so it makes sense that the coloration that they have. The westerns are actually a modification or variation of the northerns. They are the much more prettier Sergals. They come in a lot more colorful colors, such as the blues, the greens, even purple is visible amongst them. And the eastern Sergals right here. They basically have a hybrid vigor between the northerns and the southerns. So they are the tallest, they are the strongest. They have a much more bulkier body structure to them. My personal character is an eastern, so they are pretty awesome. And we'll touch about where they live in a little bit later in this presentation. One thing to note though, and I'm not going to get too much into the actual storyline behind everything, but one thing to note is that the Western Sergals are more or less extinct in the wild, if you will. They were invaded and massacred, so unfortunately there are still Westerns around, but there's not a whole lot of them. So that's kind of an unfortunate part of the story. So let's talk about Sergal misconceptions. So when you guys think of a Sergal, what have you heard in the past? I really want to hear, like, what are some things that you heard of? Let's hear some stereotypes. Come on, anyone. Don't be shy, come on. Got nothing. We'll just touch on a few here. But first, we've all seen a lot of art, probably of Sergals being known as, what's it?
Is that okay for a PG comment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so there is a bit of a myth that they are bloodthirsty monsters. A lot of that actually came from a lot of the art. This is actually official art by Mick herself. So this came out a while ago. In the older canon, there was a lot of North versus South. It was a lot about warriors fighting each other. So the blood and gore was pretty popularized. And so here's some fan art right here as well. So that is where that came from. But that is more old canon. The actual reality is that Sergals are fairly friendly, carefree, and loving. Like even more than regular people. That's the thing I want to stress. They're just people. They're pretty much humans. They even refer to themselves as human beings in their world. So they have a very laid back, a very casual standpoint on how they live their life, which is maybe a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people. A lot of people are surprised by that actually. But that's what Sergals really are like. Another myth, and we did hear this, is the whole idea of rape, war, and the eating of babies. And this has gone around the internet quite a bit, and it is a bit of a myth because it's pretty much only Rain. And Rain is one of the big characters in the story, and this what actually was a personal persona of Mick for several years early on when she was first creating Sergals. And Rain is pretty much a psychopath, like she is nuts. So there was a part of the story that she did do these atrocities.
I just wanted to pop in, see what was going on.
Hello, this is the Sergal and Vilous channel. Have a seat if you'd like to.
Yes. I gotta pop back to Kage because I'm watching. I just wanted to check to see what this was.
Okay. So anyway, so yes, the stuff that you saw there, she did do pretty much all of that stuff, but it's only limited to her, so it's not really a more trend with Sergals. The last one is a fun internet one, and that's that Sergals Go Merp. That one, and I have no idea who this guy is. That one is pretty much a myth. The reality is that in canon, foxes and deer sounds are more like what they would make, especially if they were a more primitive one. Some of the northern Sergals, especially a little bit older in times, did have a primitive feel to them. They were kind of tribal, so their natural sounds are fox and deer-like and kind of high-pitched. But again, they're still people, so the civilized ones do use words. The Merp thing is mostly exclusive to a group of fans online. It's their catchphrase and nothing more. So if you see someone saying Merp, do understand that's not canon. That's just an online joke. They got a little too out of control.
Just to be funny.
So a little bit more of the Vilous overview. So meet the artists. This is their current personas, if you will. This is Nick 39. She's actually had a few different personas over the time, but that is one of them right there. That is Cracked, also known as Moa Moa. And she is a stalker, which is a type of alien cat that lives in the world amongst the Sergals. And they can be both sentient and sapient. They are capable of speech. Not all of them, but some of them are. And Kiki Uma, she is the story writer. She's the world builder. So a lot of the canon that you see actually is from her. So they work together as a team, oftentimes meeting in person. So every time they meet, a lot of lore does get released and added to the world. It's still a living, breathing, expanding world that's still being built on to this day. In fact, just today, some more lore was just released. So let's also meet the Altus races. Sergals are not alone on their sleepy little planets. They're also joined by Nevrians and Agunders. Nevrians are, as you can see, very bird-like, also kind of velociraptor, dinosaur-like in their appearance. Also shorter of the three. And the Agunders are basically kind of goat or llama-like. They come in a few different varieties, but mostly they have an ungulate appearance to them. And we already touched on the Sergals. So here's what they look like in a lineup. A little bit more in detail, Nevrians, they are like many real-life Earth birds, they come in two different varieties based on their sex. The females are not quite as attractive. They have Earth-like colors, so you can see their color palette right here. You can come in a little bit brighter colors, but generally they're a lot more earth tone. They also have more of a dinosaur appearance to them. You can see their feet kind of has that little claw right here. And between the males, they also have smaller wings on their arms. Whereas the male ones are the pretty ones. Think of peacocks. It's exactly the same thing. So they're the bright, bold, pretty ones. They've got very wild, vivid color schemes to them. And as you can kind of guess along with it, their culture is an interesting reversal of gender types. So there, the males are the effeminate ones, and the females are much more
What we would consider masculine.
yeah, masculine, basically. So they have a very interesting reversal there. The Agunders are the much more human-like. They have gender types just like us. They have, basically they're very human-like. They even have breasts and everything else that goes along with it. So you can see the male and the female. And whereas the Nevrians are a lot more delicate and lightweight, so they're a lot more of the artisans, the songwriters, musicians. The females are very hard workers, so they make good scientists. Meanwhile, the Agunders are kind of like the humans as you've seen in most sci-fi novels. They're the more human-like, so they are the more resilient ones. They are the engineers, the crafters, so they do a lot of that kind of stuff. But that's the Agunders. So let's touch on the world a little bit here. I mentioned the world a little bit before. This is their solar system right here. The sun itself is known as Vilous, which is what the world got its name from. The planet they lived on used to be known as Vilous, so you might have heard that in the past. That name has been changed. It's now known as Tau. And this little planet right here is Altus. There's a lot of story there, but I just don't have time to go into it. But in short, Sergals, the other Altus races, came from here and in some way or another found themselves living on the alien planet Atal. So that's how they got there, I think. So again, I'm kind of rushing over it because I just want to touch on it. So as far as Tau goes, this is a general idea of what the planet looks like. So most of their civilization is just in this tiny little area right here because they are basically an immigrant to this planet and they've lost most of the technology they used to have, so it's basically a technology reset. In fact, even in modern times, the technology level is right around the 1920s Earth, so it's what I would call a diesel punk kind of thing. They got some high-tech things like cars and fax machines, but they have a lot of other lower tech things as well, so it's kind of a strange mix between the two. So most of the world is actually a vast wasteland. It's very inhospitable. There's a lot of solar radiation. In fact, this yellow zone right here is the area that's so, like think of in the mountains, there's that dead zone that gets so tall that even trees can't grow there. Same thing for right here. The radiation from the sun is so bad that once you get past a certain horizontal, it becomes too inhospitable to bear, so they just can't go any further south than that. So here's the Altus zone map. There are 4 main areas. I'll touch that just a little bit, but a lot of civilization lives around this lake right here. The town is known as Gold Ring. It's basically their version of New York City, so the majority of the population does live there. Up here is the Shigu area. That's where the northern Sergals live. The eastern Sergals live around this area right here, and the westerns used to live up in this area-ish until they got wiped out. So that's the general area. So I'll touch them right here. So the Shigu I mentioned is up here. So that's a more modern version of the city. Riono is the eastern area, so it's a lot more rural. There's a lot more farmland there. They do have a mountain range, so you can see part of the mountain right here. Gold Ring is the desert city, and up right here is Nevria, which that's where the Nevrians, the bird people, came from. So this is an older image of the Sergals and the Nevrians actually mixing together. And in short, what happened was the Shigu invaded Nevria and wiped out a lot of that existence. And the Nevrians fled to their own hometown, and Sergals basically aren't allowed to go back there right now. So that area is basically kind of off the map now. So that's the Eltis zones where the people live. The Tilixian biomes, that's basically the wild areas of the planet. So you have areas like the forests, you have areas like the plains. The Sail Zane is the big desert that makes up a good majority of the central area of this map right here. So to get between any of these areas, you basically have to go through the desert. It's very hospitable there. And the forests are particularly notorious because it is filled with giant, nasty creatures. In particular, they don't look like much right here, but these leeches are basically the giant worms from the movie Tremors. They can eat you whole, and they're completely and absolutely terrifying. So if you want to value your life, you don't go into the forest unless you absolutely have to. And once you start reading the manga, you will see very quickly why. But the individual information is still kind of coming out. But they do have some Earth equivalents, if you will. So they do have like their version of a horse, their version of a goat. None of the text from back there. This is on the wiki. You saw the stalker earlier, so here's a version of the stalker. It's their version of a cat. These guys right there, their version of, this is their version of a wolf, their version of a dog. This guy right here is known as a weasel. They basically look like giant venomous insects, and they are absolutely bad news. You get stung by one of those things, and you're knocked out for half the day. So if you get rescued, awesome. Otherwise, you're going to eat lunch. So they have different other things right here. These are little piglets, and these adorable little things are called hamsters. They're basically potatoes plagues. And that's interesting to note because the life on Tau, the native life, is very, very much alien. In fact, some of the creatures are kind of a mix between plant and animal. You'll have some things that you're like, that's a plant, yet it can get up and move somewhere. And you'll see something that you're like, that is an animal, but it's more like a plant. So it is a very bizarre place. It's like Australia, everything's here to kill you, right? So of course, a world like this is chock full of characters, and it's a little confusing for some people because there actually is the old canon. There's an old story that has been kind of reset, and there's a new canon. So a lot of the characters have kind of changed throughout it. But I can't go into all their bios and backstories right now, but I'm just illustrating that there are quite a bit of characters here. The most notorious one is Rain right here. She has the most art and the most following because she basically was very similar to Alexander the Great.
No, I'd say more Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, that's a good one. Her story, in short, is that you have people living amongst all of this up in the north and terrified for their lives. And she came along and said, what if we all work together and made things so that we don't have to be fearful of this world anymore? So it started out with kind of good ideas, so everyone joined her saying, yes, let's not live in fear anymore, that's great. But she unfortunately had a mutation that caused her to slowly go insane over time. And while it started off being all nice and everything, she then so eventually she got overthrown and walked away. But that is one of the pivotal characters of the story, and she did do a huge amount of shaping of the world because of that. And even though she did atrocities, she did lead the way from the little villages to come together and form a city of civilized people. So she played her part. So that's the majority of my presentation. So if you're wanting to learn more, there is the wiki and the manga, which is both found on our official website, which is vilous.net. And if anyone is on Telegram, come talk to me later and I can help you get involved in the Telegram room. We actually do have a room where we talk about the lore and nothing but the lore. There's also a couple of social rooms as well that I can also point you to if you're interested. And you can also talk to staff, like all three of us are on Telegram, so if you want, I can give you my personal Telegram names if you ever want to talk about Sergals. I'm more than happy to talk about it. And that's the majority of the presentation. So this is the part where it's kind of a meet and greet, getting Q&A if you just want to kind of come together and mingle for a bit. I didn't intend for this to be half of it to just be getting to know each other if you want. Yeah. And that's it. So do you guys have any questions, anything burning that you want to talk about?
I've got the anatomy sheet if you want to.
Yeah, I'm going to pass this out now.
Oh, look at that.
So it is.
I am sadly not on coloring yet.
It's
You should.
free. Fix that. Come join
It's
us.
the new
It
thing.
took people almost a year to convince me to do Discord.
Yeah,
If you ever do,
I'm not as big a fan.
we've got it waiting for you. So the lore room is what we call Vilous lore.
So we've got.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people in here, and what's pretty awesome. Wait, hold on. Let's have a look. Let's look at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's the happiest circle I've ever seen?
Push the icon.
I'm not used to being small upload like that. At any rate, we got a lot of artists amongst us in the lore room. Unfortunately, my internet connection is not very good because I'm only on 3G here for some reason, but
Yeah, I lost a lot of signal when the door closed. It's all the installation.
There's
we
lots of
got
pictures, trust us.
3,781 pictures, and a lot of them are from the art. A lot of them came from artists in the community that said, hey, look at what I draw, and they posted there. So I absolutely love it. For example, that right there was posted just recently by Rotar. We also did this. Just fans drawing things. Just recently, that was updated what the official eye colors could be for Sergals, so you can see that right here.
Yeah, Kiki drew that one.
Yep.
Right, so this is official.
Yeah, the author.
And my eye color is actually this one right here. And I had it before it was even official, and I said, what about this color? She's like, well, if you made it this color, then okay. And then she added it to the list right here, so it's like, oh, that's cool.
I cannot read.
Here's some old art that Nick drew. So, it's up one of the stalker characters, it was a little hard to tell. But yeah, that's the lore room. As far as the main website, if you go to the main website, you'll be basically greeted with the manga itself. So that's where the home leads you to. If you want to get to the wiki, there's actually a button right here that takes us directly to the wiki, which is floating in the background. We also have an official store, so not to pimp it, but the shirts that we are wearing is available for sale on the store. And this is the very first chapter of the Gathering of Herbs. If you go to the comics, there are 3 episodes right here. There's also even some holiday comics and some intermission art. So this is the very beginning of your journey. So the wiki itself, go in here and select English, unless you wanted to see the original Japanese version. But it's the wiki, so you can search for anything. Probably the first thing you're going to want to search is Sergal. That is by far the longest and most detailed article we have, and probably the most visited. And that's where you can go and find pretty much all the information that you want to find about Sergals or anything else in the world. And we're constantly adding more stuff to it as the artists come up with new information about the world every week. So does anyone else have any questions? Like, do Sergals do this? Or I heard this, is this true? Or and if you think about making a Sergal character, like it's an open species. It's not like some other species. You can make a Sergal at any time. There's actually, if you want to read it, there is a terms of use. So you can go there and see what you're allowed to and not allowed to in a Sergal character.
It's basically just a very brief explanation of, like, basically saying, what's a good term for this?
It's very laissez-faire, so if you want to make a Sergal dragon hybrid, you can do that, just call it something else. It's actually in there. It says if you want to make a hybrid character, go for it, have fun. Just don't call it a Sergal, like give it a different name.
Yeah.
Like call it a Dragall or something. But seriously, it's pretty open, and if anyone wants to make art and sell art of Sergals, we do permit that. And there's a certain threshold. We ask that if someone makes over $500 a month to maybe work a deal out with us, and most artists don't reach that threshold. So it's pretty laid back and pretty awesome, actually.
You call it a surgeon.
I've heard that before.
It's pretty good.
And there are some other characters that are very liberal on what they call a Sergal. But yeah, so that's a good question.
Greetings.
So that's basically all I have for the show and tell as far as that is concerned. The website is here for you to look at.
In English and Japanese, if you read Japanese.
Yes,
I guess if you want to see a little bit of behind the scenes, the males and the females in canon basically look identical. The only way that you can really tell is basically what's between their legs. Now, going into a little bit more of the lore and the story and everything, at least with Sergals on their own, do talk and act the same. You couldn't tell a male from a female. And on top of that, as you might kind of guess along with that, homosexual relationships are pretty common amongst that. There's no taboo against that. And as the Gold Ring was actually founded on the Gundars and the Sergals coming together and forming civilization together. And since the Gundars do have the gender types, the male and female, with females having breasts and all that, the Sergals actually had a lot of cross-cultural each race loved the other race a lot and want to kind of take on. The Gundars are actually very envious of the way Sergals look and act, and vice versa. So Sergals actually picked up a lot of the culture from them, including the way they dress. So female Sergals actually did pick up on dressing like tradition, like what we would think of as a female. So that did actually happen, but you're correct. As far as the way the body type looks on its own, yes, there's very little difference between the two, including voice. They both will sound the same. So if you listen to one talk, they would sound the same. So yeah, that is a good question. Other questions? You're totally free at this point to kind of just chat with each other too. Just hang out for a little bit. You want to talk about your characters. Does anyone here have a Sergal character? Or a Vilous character?
Fox.
Okay, Fox. I was a Fox before I switched to Sergals, so it's not great. Consider it. We have one
I've
member.
got at least one of each of the three.
Oh, really? Very cool.
2 Nevrian, and a Gudner, and a Sergal that was actually co-designed by Beaky.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's actually a band. I plan on eventually getting a badge for all 4 of them done like an 80s album cover.
Oh, hell yeah. I do like that. Yeah, there's not a lot of people, as you might expect, the Sergals are very popular amongst the 3. Nevrians are picking up quite a bit. There's a lot of Nevrians now. Gundars just haven't gotten very much love yet, so but I am starting to see some of the Gundar characters coming out. Phil right here actually has some Gundar character, which...
Mine was the female one you saw.
Yep.
Little brown girl.
That was actually the first time I'd seen that one.
This right here. That was
She got
actually,
published this last month, so.
that was actually drawn by Kiki herself, and so Kiki actually has been using it to showcase Gundars a bit. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, I personally think they're a beautiful race, and I do hope they pick up more speed. But yeah, glad that you got it a Gundar. That makes me very happy. So do you have any backstory in your characters, or?
Still working out specifics.
That's basically what I'm doing too.
The backstory is my worst part. That's like my worst skill.
I gotcha. I know when I would play D&D with friends, they would always have these big, long backstories for the characters. And I'm like, where do you even come up with this stuff? My guy is a dwarf that got too drunk once and fell into this group. That's all you got? Isn't that all I need? Let's go kill moblins. Let's go. But yeah, no, I can totally get you. And I think you would love the War Room, honestly. I really do think that you should just bite the bullet and get Telegram. It's very invasive, so it can be used as much or as little as you want. And if you got into the lore room, which it's open to anybody, but if you wanted to get in, you could see a lot of the art, a lot of the discussion that goes on. There's seriously the most important part is the people. This is really one of the coolest communities I've ever found in my life. Like, they're very upbeat, very friendly, really cool group of people. I'm very impressed with the community. And when someone like acts out or gets a little bit of hint of drama, people like throw positivity at it and says, "Hey, let's not do this." So
You don't see that a lot.
it makes me very happy. And it's very self-policing too. Like I'm an admin in the room, and I don't really have to do a lot because mostly it just takes care of itself. But yeah, the lore room I highly recommend you check out, especially if you have characters. People will go in there and say, "I'm trying to build this character. Can someone give me some ideas?" And people are happy to throw out ideas. And we got people with different role types, everything from shopkeepers to adventurers to we got someone that is a dye expert. And dye color is a thing officially in canon, so like my character has some markings on him. So while it's not common to be colored up like that, it's totally feasible. So we got a couple characters that they said their character is actually a dye salon expert. One makes and sells the dye, the other one is actually the salon person. And in fact, in the comics, it's not really a spoiler, but one most recently added character is someone that works at a dye salon. So that's actually pretty cool how it all kind of comes together. Fact. Yeah. Would you have any idea?
So it's more just what people see. It's really easy to find things. You can just search on FA or any other website and see, okay, look, here's a list of, 15,000 pictures of Sergals, and then you'll see Nivrians and a Gudner. There's still some Nivrians, not many a Gudner at all, mostly because people don't know about them. Again, since a lot of it was in Japanese for so long, and only Japanese for more than 10 years, most of the information was passed along through the art. And the Sergals and Nivrians had the prettiest art, the most popular art, and so that was the art that got copied over, that was the information that got copied over. It's actually been a lot of the same people who have done a lot of the art that's, really, really high quality. Mick herself has drawn drawn and physically painted a lot of really nice pieces. Again, Rotar, who I think we mentioned earlier tonight, and Ray Sheres, who used to go by Rage 1986, have also done amazing works of art with the Vilous characters and setting. And
I wish the internet was better in here because I could show you some of these examples of this art. Like, they are pretty high quality. There's been other artists that have come through that have just wonderful art styles. And like any group, you've got people that are budding artists, but one day they will get up there too. So, but yeah, there's been some wonderful examples of Sergal art throughout the years. And what has really been great about moving it forward is that Mick herself, the creator, and even Kiki too. Kiki's an established artist. Like, she's pretty good. They've both been able to drive it forward because they're so talented. And particularly Mick, she's absolutely phenomenal, and she can do many different styles and detail works. She does paintings, so she's tried quite a bit, and she's dabbled in some 3D. She's dabbled in music.
Mick actually has made an album.
Yeah,
of,
she's made it for a
electronic
while.
music.
It's good. It's actually really good.
What's it called?
I can't remember now.
Rusty Rain, I think it was called.
It was like Al-Heem or something.
Almean?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
What?
ALH space MENE. It's I think it's a reference to a type of dinosaur that was found in China.
Hold on, I'm a little
It's on
drunk. Let me write
Bandcamp, so
that
you
down.
can listen to it. This is one of those things that if you want to hear about it, like, we add us on Telegram and say hi sometime, and we can hook you up.
All right.
But yeah, that is online, and she has done. She's one of those multi-talented people, and so she and Kiki actually are living in Japan, and
Well, they're from Japan.
they're from Japan, but also living there too.
Yes.
What was that word you said?
The guy from P-Model.
Yeah, like Koji was completely nerding out with me about it a little while ago.
Paprika, like the
it's-
Inception movie?
What?
Never mind, I'm sure.
It's the anime movie Paprika.
Yeah, the one that like Inception stole everything from.
Okay, yes, okay, yes.
Little, yeah.
The composer did a lot of music for that.
And Mick is a big,
Major
Mick and
inspiration.
Kiki are both big fans of that. So.
Yeah, and if
I'm not saying it's exactly alike. It's
I know.
not. It's not exactly alike. But
It's different, but
It's electronic like that.
yeah.
And just a little bit of fun trivia, like one thing that Mick was really inspired by, she loves things like the Legend of Zelda games. She loves Ace Combat. In fact, it's worse, the game is Ace Combat. Mick was a nickname for that.
Well, we got another panel coming in, I think.
Time.
10 minutes. Yeah, Mick has cited her.
Are you guys a different panel or just coming to talk about circles for a bit?
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, we're in Q&A, so if you've got any questions.
We're in the mingling part right here, so. Any of you guys have a circle character or anything?
No,
Just
just kind of
interested?
thinking about it right now. Like, thinking about developing it, that's all.
Oh, sweet.
Well, we got a whole wiki worth of resources.
I have no clue what a circle is, to be honest.
Okay.